Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. I am pleased to be with you. I am pleased to be with Vicente because we have worked a lot together. I was previously the technical affairs manager in CAPMC, who was the former association of representing the producers, the manufacturers in Europe. And before, I was 4 years in the construction unit in the commission to work with Vicente to try to implement the SPD. So that is a long route we have shared during years. Many things have been explained by Vicente. So I will just summarize what are the obligations for the various actors, and you will see that for manufacturers, the situation when we explain the duty of the manufacturers, the situation may be frightening, and many manufacturers are saying at the beginning, "Oh, that is very heavy and very important." But when we explain slowly the real obligation, that is affordable, because normally the manufacturers had to implement and to fulfill the CPD, and the CPD was promulgated, was published in 1989. So normally the construction product should be CE marked since not 1989, because the Commission needs to implement some preparatory documents, like interpretative document, like harmonized standard, before the CPD was really in force. But the standards were written in 2001, 2002, 2003, and since 2004, the vast majority of the harmonized standards are in place. So since 2002, 2004, normally a large part of the construction product should be CE marked. So the manufacturer do not discover the system. The obligation of the manufacturer are the following. First of all, according to the CPR, now we will forget the CPD. The manufacturers are obliged to determine what is called the product type. The product type is a series of information on the product. First, the intended use declared by the manufacturer. If you have a gypsum plaster board, this gypsum plaster board can be used for the insulation, can be used to protect a metallic element against fire, can be used to prepare the surface to put covering floors, can be used in the roof. So you have to, when you are a manufacturer, to say, I am manufacturer of brick. This brick can be used to make buildings, or to make very small construction, or to make another thing. So you have to declare the intended use. If the intended use is predefined in the harmonized standard, you use the category of the harmonized standard. If it is not, you declare what is your intended use. Secondly, a part of the product type is constituted by the series of performance of the product. In the harmonized standard, normally, and that is in fact really effective, really done. In the harmonized standard, you will find linked to the intended use a series of essential characteristics, which are the most important characteristics for the product, concerning the safety, the stability of the product, the protection against fire, the noise, the safety of use, and the thermal insulation. So, concerning also the very important element, in each harmonized standard, you will find for an intended use a list of characteristics which are important for the product. For this characteristic, you will find in the harmonized standard for each characteristic one single test method or test calculation. Normally, you have to have in the harmonized standard one method for one characteristic. Exceptionally, you may have 2 or 3, but that is the weight of the story of the past. But little by little, the standard really contain one method for one characteristic. So, the manufacturer, when he has declared the intended use, is obliged to test his product for the characteristics which are important for the intended use, and that is part of the product type. Vicente has made a precision saying that this is the choice of the manufacturer, this is the decision of the manufacturer to decide what are the characteristics he will provide, for which he will provide the performance. There are 2 cases, finally, resulting from the CPR, for which the manufacturer is obliged, more or less, to declare the performance. If the manufacturer wants to sell his product in a country where a characteristic is regulated, automatically he has to demonstrate that he fulfills the regulation in this country. So he has to declare the performance. If he does not declare the performance, in this case, he cannot sell his product in this country. So that is an existential obligation. You are complying or you cannot sell. So this is the first case for which the manufacturer is obliged, according to the market he has in his objective, is obliged to declare the performance. Secondly, there is an article in the CPR, Article 4.2, which is intended to fight against the national marks. And in this article, it is written that if the manufacturer wants to communicate on an essential characteristic, he is obliged to declare the performance of the product in the DOP. He cannot communicate information without having placed the performance in the DOP, declare the performance in the DOP. He cannot let the DOP empty and declaring the performance in another mark. That is not possible due to the Article 4.2. So, according to the market the manufacturer wants to go, he has to declare a series of performance. Due to this, to his intention, the list of the characteristic for which he declares the performance is resulting from the harmonized standard. The third thing which is included in the product type is the assessment of the system of assessment and verification of the constancy of the performance. It is important to have in mind that you assess the product at the beginning when you have a prototype, but after it is obliged for the manufacturer to demonstrate that during the production phase, he will maintain the performance of the product, and finally, when the product will be manufactured, the performance will really be fulfilled. So there is some requirements, some technical element developed in the harmonized standard, and in the due to the mandate, and there are some obligations for the manufacturer to assess that the product is the AVCP, the assessment and verification of the consistency of the performance, is really guaranteed. The AVCP is done by a notified body in the case of the system 1+1 or 3, and it is done by the manufacturer under his responsibility under the system 2+ or 4. When the manufacturer has established the product type of the product, he has a certain obligation. First, he has to implement a factory production control. That is compulsory for all the products which are CE marked. So that can be a very simple system. You have to fulfill the production. You have to demonstrate that you make a certain series of tests, and you control the performance of the product at certain phases of the production, and at the end you guarantee that the product will have the performance declared. And that can be subject of continuous surveillance when there are intervention of the notified body. In certain cases, the factory production control can be complex. That depends on the importance of the production, on the importance of the plant. But often, that can be a very simple series of obligations. When the manufacturer has established the performance of his product, has declared the intended use, has made has fulfilled the requirement linked to the AVCP, he may declare the performance of the product, so he may draw up his declaration of performance according to the model included in the CPR. In the DOP, as Vicente already said, we have to indicate some information concerning the product, the mark, identification code, some information concerning the manufacturers. It is important to give the address of the manufacturer to the users. It is important to declare the intended use, the performance of the product for each characteristic for which we declare this performance, or the class. And if in the standard you have a series of characteristics, but if you decide to not declare certain characteristics because you don't need it, you may escape to make the test, and you declare in this case NPD in the DOP, not performance declared. I will give you a concrete example. If you are producing a product for example, Spain, and if this for a certain characteristic, and if this characteristic is regulated in Spain but not in Sweden, if you opt to sell your product also in Sweden, your strategy will depend on the market. If you are sure to sell the product in Spain, as the characteristic is regulated, you will have to declare the performance, so you will have to make the test. If you intend to sell your product in Sweden, if the characteristic is not regulated, you may escape to do the test, to perform the test, and you save money. So, according to the market you have in mind, certain characteristics can be or have to be declared, or can be not declared. So the manufacturers are not obliged to necessarily declare all the performance. And finally, the information declared according to REACH have to be repeated in the DOP, repeated according to certain requirements. When the DOP has been drawn up, the manufacturer is obliged to provide to the client, which can be a contractor or a final client if you are in a brico or in a shop for the people, we are obliged to provide to supply with each product which are sold a copy of the DOP. That can be done by paper form, by electronic means, and now we can indicate on the product the website where the user, the client, can find the information which are included in the DOP, and the client may go to the website of the manufacturer to know what are the characteristics of the product. But of course, we have to respect, to fulfill the delegated act in this last case. When the DOP has been done, has been provided to the client, the manufacturer is obliged to constitute a technical documentation. The technical documentation describes all the relevant elements related to the required system of assessment and verification of constancy of performance. So the audit of the plant, the tests which are done along the production phase are kept by the manufacturer, and the manufacturer has to constitute a file containing all the elements justifying the content of his declaration of performance. This technical documentation and the DOP shall be kept 10 years, basically 10 years, but the CPR has included the possibility to make exception, and if the period of 10 years is too long, it can be reduced according to a delegated act decision made by the Commission. And of course, the technical documentation have to be provided on the request from competent national authorities, in particular the authorities in charge of the surveillance of the market and the authorities in charge of the surveillance of the construction in their country. So if a national authority wants to have an information, they may ask the manufacturer, please give me your technical documentation. I want to check if you were correct when you declared the DOP and the performance of the product. After that, and as Vicente has explained before, we are also obliged to affix the CE marking on the product. The CE marking is the logo CE, and the logo CE, as Vicente told us, means a commitment of the manufacturer saying, my product is conform to my DOP. CE means exactly that, not more, not less. But some people during the discussion in the, to revise the CPD and to approve the CPR have added some obligation. Some obligations are, of course, legitimate. Information on the manufacturer, information concerning the product, identification of code of the product, to be sure that when we have a DOP, when we have a product, we are sure that the DOP concerns the product and the product is linked to this DOP. So you have a system of traceability via the identification number. But we have also to repeat a certain series of declared value on the product. Or, if not possible, on a label affixed to the product, or if not possible to the packaging, or if not possible to the accompanying document. Of course, the manufacturer were a little bit disappointed to see that this double obligation for them to have a DOP and to repeat a part of the DOP in the CE marking, but we hope that in the future the real practice linked to the CPR will allow to have some flexibility and to avoid to repeat stupidly the same information in two locations. After that, this story is not finished for the manufacturer. We have to ensure that all the required elements related to the AVCP have been performed. We have to be sure that the procedures are in place to ensure that the series production maintains the performance, the declared performance. We have to control by sampling. We have to maintain the FPC in line with the requirement in the harmonized standard. In case of no fulfillment of an applicable regulation, we have to take all the necessary measures and to correct, and if not possible, we have to recall the product or to withdraw the product from the market. In case of no conformity of the product with the DOP, we have to take the necessary measure to correct the non-conformity or to recall the product, or we have to change the DOP of the product. And we have also to inform the distributors, the market surveillance authorities, and if the product presents a risk, we have to inform the competent national authorities. So you see that the duty of the manufacturer are large, relatively heavy, but when you apply it to one product, according to one harmonized standard, of course, that is more specific and that can become possible. The distributors have now explicit obligation, which was more or less the case under the CPD, but not formulated under the CPD, and that is a clarification brought by the CPR to know what are the clearly what are the obligations of the distributor. The distributor shall ensure that the product first bears the CE marking. Normally, a distributor should not accept to receive and to distribute a product not complying with the CPR, so not having the CE marking. They have to check if the product is accompanied by the documents required under the CPD, the CPR, and of course the DOP, the CE marking, the information accompanying the CE marking. The distributor have to check if the product is accompanied by instruction and safety information in language determined by the member state but easily understood by the users. So if you are manufacturer in France, if you sell your product in Denmark, someone is obliged to provide the information in the correct language accessible by the users, or the manufacturer or the distributor. The distributor has to check if the manufacturer has complied with the requirements set out in the CPR Article 11, if the product complies with the DOP, and if it is comply with the other applicable requirement in the CPR, and he has the responsibility to check if the storage or transport condition do not jeopardize the conformity of the product with the DOP. And the distributor can be obliged also to provide all the information and documentation to the competent national authorities and has to cooperate with the competent authorities in case of suspicion of non-conformity. When the distributor has reason to believe that the product is not in conformity, he has a certain duty. First, he should not make the product available on the market until it's conform or until the DOP is corrected. He should recall the product already distributed and made on the market. He should make sure that the corrective measures are taken, and if the product presents a risk, he has the obligation to inform the competent national authorities and give details on the non-compliance characteristics. The importers have more or less the same obligation than the manufacturers in Europe. What is clear anyway is that all the products which are placed on the market in the territory of the Union have to comply with the CPR. So if you are Brazilian or if you are Chinese, if you want to sell your product in Europe, in one country of the Europe, you have to comply with the CPR. The manufacturer, of course, manufactures the product in China or in Brazil, but someone will import the product in Europe, and the manufacturer and the importer have a series of obligations which are similar to the manufacturer in Europe. The manufacturer have to carry out the system of assessment and verification of the constancy of the performance. So they have to implement a factory production control. They have to have an intervention of notified body if the system is 1+, 1 or 2+. They have to draw up a technical documentation. They have to draw up a DOP, Declaration of Performance. They have to affix the CE marking and to provide the accompanying information with the CE marking on the product. They have to provide a serial number allowing the identification of the product and of the DOP, and they have to provide some information concerning the name of the company, the trade name of the product, the contact address. The importer have also some obligation himself. He have to indicate on the product, or a label, or a packaging, or in the accompanying documentation, his name, his register name, and contact address. He has to ensure that the product is accompanied by instruction and safety information in the language accessible for the people in the country where it will be used. He has to ensure that the storage or transport do not jeopardize the conformity of the product. He has to keep the information and the documentation and the technical documentation during the period which is specified by the regulations. Where the importer consider that the product is not in conformity with the DOP or with a regulation in Europe, he has to not place the market on the market until it's conform, or he shall take all the corrective measures to bring the product in conformity or withdraw the product from the market. He has to, and where the construction product presents a risk, the importer shall inform the manufacturer. The manufacturers, the distributors, the importers have certain duty, but member states also. First of all, member states shall not prohibit or impede within their territory the making available or the use of the product when they are CE marked, where the declared performance correspond to the requirement for such use in that member state. This is an obligation which is followed which is monitored by the Commission. And if a member state fails to fulfill this obligation, the Commission has the possibility to make an infringement procedure and to oblige the member state to fulfill this obligation. Secondly, when the member state will invent new regulation for, of course, legitimate reason, for example, the safety or the environment or etc., sustainable development and so on, the member state may continue to regulate. But when we have an harmonized standard, normally the member states should use the technical language, the instrument provided by the harmonized standard to prepare their regulation. That should be their obligation. And that joins the question from Ascensão. Some member states continue to ignore the common language, and that is not fair. Normally, in the standard, they should find all the technical elements allowing them to develop their regulation in a common route. So, for the member state, it is important to be aware that they cannot make additional specification they should be obliged to use the technical language and technical instrument provided by the harmonized standard to establish their requirement on product, and it is forbidden to require conformity to a voluntary certification without equivalent clauses. Now, the responsibility of the member states are very important at this moment. They have to designate a notifying authority. The notified authority have to check, in accordance with some criteria included in the CPR, the capability of some bodies, and they have to designate the notified body which will participate to the verification of the product. They have to designate bodies instructing ETAs. They have to identify and implement contact points which will be obliged to provide information on the requirements applicable where in a certain territory where anybody, a client or a manufacturer or a company wants to use a product. And they have to make market surveillance, which can be proactive, checking on the market by sampling, or passive, only instructing and answering to the complaints. At the end, the users, the engineer, the architect, the expert, the company of work, the final clients, have to ensure that the DOP includes all the information required to use the product where the product will be used in a work for a certain intended use. They have to check if the declared value fulfills the possible requirement applicable in a certain country for a certain use, intended use. They have to select amongst all the products answering to the regulation and CE marked. They have to select the product they want, and they have to comply with the safety instruction to use the product. That is summarized in this overview. It is important to have this scheme in his mind. First of all, as yesterday Mr. Maas explained to you, what is very clear is that a standard cannot introduce an obligation by himself. The element which introduce obligation for the manufacturers or for the users are regulation. Regulation determined at the European level or regulation determined, published at the national level. So you have this system. European regulation via the CPR introduce the obligation for the manufacturer to supply a declaration of performance with the product and to have the CE marking. That will be applied by the manufacturers, the importers, and the distributors. The manufacturers, the importers, will prepare the declaration of performance for all the essential characteristics listed in the harmonized standard. The distributor will have to check if the DOP is duly provided, if the product fulfills the national regulations and fulfill the obligation attached to a certain use. But you may have certain obligation applicable to product and determined at the European level. For example, asbestos are prohibited at the European level, not at the national level. REACH is applicable at the European level. So all the obligation resulting from some sectoral obligation taken at the European level have to be applied on the product. The product have to fulfill it. But that is not finished. Certain national regulation can exist regulating the use of the product and the minimum performance of the product for certain intended use. You will find it in regulation at the national level. And that will apply on the construction product where the product will be used in these member states, of course. And after that, the contractor, the designer, the architect have to take the information he receives with the product, and we'll have to choose the product to be used on the basis of the information given in the DOP, and with the obligation to check if the product fulfills the national or local obligations. I will show you an example, a concrete example. For example, a door to be installed in an escape route of an hotel. This product, door resisting against fire, is covered by an harmonized standard, by two harmonized standards. This one concerning hardware for fire and smoke door assembly, 14637 and 16034, windows and doors with fire resistance. So, as they are covered by an harmonized standard, there is an obligation to provide a DOP when we place it in the market, and an obligation to have the CE marking. That is the CPR which introduces this obligation. Each time when a manufacturer wants to sell his product in a country where there are some national regulation, he is obliged to provide the information on the fire resistance. You have in the majority of the country, I think in all, an obligation to fulfill a certain requirement when you use a product in an hotel. First of all, in an hotel, we have the obligation to have an escape route. And along this escape route, we have the obligation to use products which have a minimum fire resistance performance. For example, in France, is 2 hours. So that obliges the manufacturer first to test the door to the fire resistance, and secondly, to declare the performance of the product. The distributor have to check if the DOP contains this performance, this information, and the contractor have to check the local obligation to fulfill 2 hours minimum, if that is in a regulation, and that is written in the DOP. So you understand with this example how the system will function. With this information, finally, and that is my conclusion, finally, and that was in reality the objective of the CPR. With this information, the member state and the local authorities are able to check if the product complies with the regulation applicable where the product will be used. The user are able to check if the product is fit for this intended use, for a certain, for this intended use. The manufacturer may perform one single assessment of the product, and this assessment should be valid for all the uses and for all the countries, and recognized by the member state. And of course, this information is given with the product, answer to the societal needs. You know that in our society, it is required more and more to provide information on the toxic substance which can be contained by the product, on the release of the toxic substance during the life of the product. So we have to answer to those questions. And the DOP will provide us the possibility to provide this information in a complete and reliable and organized information which can be usable by the users. And the aim was, of course, the free circulation of the product on the union market and the level playing field for the construction product on the market. Thank you very much to have listened.